Hey guys, I'm uploading the video footage. I'm eating carrots. I'm in my underwear. But one of the files got corrupted from our guest camera, which is the one camera you don't want to fuck up. So this starts a little bit later into the episode. Listen to the full podcast. I made a podcast so people would listen to it. And you fuckers keep watching it. So, a link in the comments for, the audio, if you want to listen to the whole thing. Otherwise, long story short, she works, her name's Lauryn Petrie. She works at a morgue, worked. If she still works there when this comes out, she's getting fired. It's a very fucked up episode. It's the first episode I've ever added a trigger warning to. It's intense. So if you're not into dead body stuff, don't watch this one. But send it to your fucking friends and make up for not watching it. Watch the next episode. But if you like this shit, I think this is the funniest version of it I think you're going to get. So check it out. It starts deep into the interview, about halfway through. Listen to the whole thing if you want. Link in the comment, in the description. Make sure you didn't eat too soon before watching this shit. Enjoy.
I was just, you're in.
Okay.
Wait. I want to tell you guys the grossest shit. There's so much. But
so when you started, it was really COVID focused.
It was really COVID, except that we didn't do autopsies on COVID because there were too many of them and we knew it was COVID. So it was first.
How did you know?
Because tox screenings. You would just they did tox. And
so they were positive for COVID.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the conspiracy. It was they're just attributing it to COVID.
No, we COVID tested every dead body for the whole year. And, there are a bunch of dead bodies lined up with COVID straws sticking out of their nose.
How long do you have to leave it in a dead person's nose?
It was about 15 minutes. And then we take it out and put it, for the tox lab.
Oh, my God. And then, so if it was COVID, they weren't doing an autopsy at all?
Well, then, if they didn't know, they would
But
do
how
one.
do they know if cause of death was from COVID or they were just positive with COVID?
If they died in the hospital and they know they were on a ventilator and they know it was COVID, they usually didn't do an autopsy because it was a waste of manpower.
Right, but it's if I get hit by a fucking car.
They do an autopsy.
Right, but they still say COVID death.
If you had COVID, they wouldn't if it was something traumatic to the body. We had a car crash that had COVID, and they attributed that to the car crash.
Mm-hmm.
So
what about shootings?
Shootings is a shooting because
but they wouldn't say COVID. They wouldn't count that as COVID.
That
death.
was not the COD. That was
Would
not
they
the cause
do a
of
COVID
death.
test of the guy hit by the car just to be curious?
Yes, we did that for stats for the city to see where our stats were.
Okay, so you work at this one place for 3 months,
right?
And then why did you leave that one?
It was a temporary assignment.
Okay. And that's where you were doing the autopsies?
No, I was just putting bodies in trucks.
Just putting bodies in trucks. So you kind of really got an entry. You're okay, let's get used to bodies.
I can handle this.
That's insane that with just a high school diploma, you can rip into people.
It's insane.
Did it pay well?
No.
See, that's crazy. This is a job that should pay very well.
It pays shit.
Yeah.
It pays shit. They treat you like shit. And the doctors are cool. They're great. They had senses of humor. They were fun, but it pays crap.
And people would steal from bodies.
Yes, because it pays so badly.
Is that really?
What?
Well, I have to steal from this dead body because I'm not getting paid enough. Or is it a moral failing of the people that are working this job?
It's all of that.
Yeah, but if you're not getting... look...
No. Are you about to defend stealing from the dead?
No.
Yep.
But I'm saying these people are being stolen from and they're alive. And so, maybe... There's a problem. There's a problem is all I'm saying.
There's a big problem.
Sure, there's a problem with not being paid enough and not being able to make a living wage, but there's also a fucking moral failing in the fact that you can get to a point where you okay it with yourself to steal from a dead fucking
And I guess it was
body.
easier because of COVID because it's not like the family members could be there to be let's take the rings off before we...
The times when people would steal would be decomps. So somebody that got left in their apartment for 11 days, obviously they don't have family coming. So who's going to get the money under the mattress or in the drawers? It's going to be the landlord. The cops are too pussy to go in to a decomp body. They always stand outside. So you go in to get the body. There's nobody watching you. There's no supervision. And I would be standing there with the body bag, and my coworker would be going through the drawers and stuff. And I'd just be Jesus Christ. They'd always offer me half, and it was never enough for me to like feel okay about it. It was like $30, $50, and
what
I'm like,
percentage would you have been like, okay?
2,000, maybe.
What are you, a fucking corrupt cop in the 7-5?
I mean, it had that vibe. You know? It was like really had that vibe of like corruption all over the place. No cameras in the freezers or the fridges. I mean,
I could see taking food. Are you allowed to take food out of the fridge? Are you okay with
I'm
that?
not taking food off a dead body. That's a health violation.
Not out of their hand. I'm saying if there's an apple on the table,
No.
banana.
What?
I'm talking
Were
about
you going into people's houses?
Yes.
Yes.
What? No, I'm not robbing from the dead.
What if the banana's gonna go bad?
Go bad, banana.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I walked into situations where they'd been left there for like 2 weeks and their pets were dead. You know,
Oh
and
my
they
God.
were dead.
Oh my God. Do you take the dead, or is that a different department to get the pet?
That's the cops. No. We didn't
Cops take the
I mean,
pets?
the pets. If the pets were alive, the cops took the
Defund
pets.
now.
if the pets were dead, would you take the pets?
No, we just leave them there. I don't know who cleaned that up.
Oh my God.
But here's what's funny thing. Cats eat your face, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes
Yeah, that's the funny part.
there would be like a cat that was so sweet and rubbing on us and stuff, and we looked at the corpse and its eyes were gone and we're like, you ate your owner's face, but you're still
I would
so
be
sweet.
honored. I would love to be one with my cat.
And that cat goes to the ASPCA, and like no one will ever know that cat ate a face.
Oh my God. So you could be adopting cats.
Yes, all over New York.
Are used to the taste of human flesh.
Yeah,
I
but
love
they're still sweet.
Cats are great.
Yes, they
I
are.
would be honored for my cat to be one with him and to give him
Your nutrients.
sustenance after I pass.
I agree.
Even if the option was available for just regular cat food?
Yes. And I think it would be fitting for part of the life I lived for then me to be shot into a box.
Sure.
I have a real problem with the funeral industry after working.
I can imagine.
so?
It sounds like every
Oh,
step
because
of
they
this.
overcharge.
Not just that, that's like just terrible, but also just the preservation of a body. I think it's just ridiculous. I
Why?
think well, it's chemicals, like, and they put that in the ground, and then cemeteries are all polluted. You know, it's bad for the environment. It takes up a lot of land.
Well, I feel like I agree with you, but I feel like, okay, chemical them up, make them look all right so that we can get our final goodbye, and then fucking burn them. I don't know why we're
Yes.
still burying bodies.
I agree,
understand
I
the
agree.
catharsis, I guess, of saying goodbye to a body. My grandpa died over the pandemic, and it was definitely one of those where, like, not having seen him for a year and a half, it
was
does feel
jarring.
like something was it wasn't even jarring. It was just like ethereal. Like there was no moment of like, here he was and he's
Yeah.
gone. It was just like, I haven't seen him and I guess I won't see him again.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to have the full emotional, we had the funeral 9 months later once COVID had
Ugh.
calmed. And so it just didn't feel the same. It just
course.
didn't feel, at this point, what's the goal? It's just cathartic ability to feel and bear witness and process something.
For the living.
When they froze these bodies until they could afford the funeral, is that for people who didn't want them cremated, or was that like cremation was even too expensive?
As far as I know, it's just really poor people, and like 5 people in their family died all at once, and they just couldn't
Is
have
cremation?
a ceremony.
How much does cremation cost? Like that, cremation should be free
Yeah.
because it's like, well, you're helping the environment by just
Yeah,
You know,
I think we should fucking dig up every body at a cemetery, cremate them all, give them to the family, and then turn that into underground parking.
Fuck yeah!
And then if some jewelry falls off along the way
It's good
into
for
the
the morgue
cremation
techs.
place,
Yeah.
give it to the techs.
Yeah, give
Yeah,
it to
man.
Lauren and some guy named DeAndre.
Yeah, dude, you've got the vibe.
Yeah,
You got it.
So
I
okay,
used
so
to teach kids that probably ended up in that field.
Yeah.
when you started working at the autopsy place, was that a little bit better money or still shit money?
Exact same pay.
Can you tell us ballpark of what is a minimum wage?
Yeah. Well, no, it was like $20.24
That's
an
not
hour.
bad.
It's with all the
You
taxes.
are fucking you're digging out the guts. You'd have to pay me
the taxes. They took out like $300 a check. So I wasn't even making. I was making like $600, $800 a check.
And that's every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What?
It was well, not well. It was bad.
And you couldn't collect unemployment.
Right. So I was just trapped working for the city.
Wait, $20-some an hour is
It
pretty
was-
good.
It was, dude. I don't know. I make more than that now, and I'm struggling.
So
Rent in New York City.
yeah. So
What-
when you do the autopsy, because for some of them, do you know for like some of them obviously they want the body back for the funeral.
Oh yeah.
So are you putting everything back in?
You're going to love this. So the funeral director deals with making it nice.
Yeah.
What we do, we take everything out, we chop it all up, and there's a big red plastic bag that says biohazard. We dump everything back in that bag, you tie it up, and then you throw it in the body cavity and sew it up. Here's all your shit back.
Wait, so
Why?
the guts are in a plastic bag in the body?
Yes.
What? Like that bag in a turkey?
Yes.
Why?
Because they give it, then the funeral home takes it, throws the guts away, and then fills it up.
They're organ donors?
Well, then they take the organs beforehand.
So all the dead
Why don't
bodies
you throw out the
so the dead bodies we see at a funeral, when they present them,
Yeah.
are they usually empty inside?
You know, I don't go to funeral
No,
homes.
that's just the people working there.
Yes. They're just, I mean, I don't know exactly what happens in the funeral home because I wasn't on that side of the industry. I just know in the medical field, it's just, and then the skull, when we take the brain out, we don't put the brain back in. You fill it up with paper towels and put the skull back together. And
Do you put
sew
the brain
head
in the
up.
bag that goes in the stomach?
Because everything gets chopped up by the doctor because they have to look inside. It's so medieval.
But why do they...
Wait, so when you have the dead body, when we see them in a casket, their head is no brain inside?
Oh, yeah, everything's gone, guys.
Fuck, dude, that really bothers me.
What if they know how they died? They're still chopping the brain up?
This is so ridiculous. We would have somebody got fucking shot in the head twice. Ugh. The brain is falling out. There's pieces of skull. Great thing I was noticed though, like on women, their makeup would still be like perfect. They get shot in the back of the head and like their fucking falsies are on perfectly. I was like, this is a makeup
For
advertisement.
this episode in particular, I'm going to look at the metrics just to see kind of like where people stopped listening. Just like what gore they said, nope, I need to go to sleep tonight.
Wait, I haven't even told you guys the dildo maggot story.
What?
Tell us the dildo
Is this
maggot
too
story.
much?
No, it's
It's
wild.
gotta be a two-parter.
I think it's more like shocking that you don't have PTSD from it. There's only so many people built to handle this. Not me.
Right.
I don't know you.
I guess the
Not
way
me.
I look at
Not
it is
me.
like they're not there anymore. Like this just biological matter.
Had you dealt with death prior to this?
I'd seen dead bodies when I was living under a bridge.
But not anyone personally close to you.
I mean, I've had people close to me die. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean,
You know what sucks is like as a stand-up comedian, like
but I care
dare I
about
say
those people.
this is good for material, but I'm like, there's no shows you could bring this up and not bum out the whole.
You're wrong.
Yeah?
I have a whole like 10 minutes about the morgue, and it's hilarious, and they get on board.
Sure.
Yeah,
But you don't say your grandma
maggot
didn't have a
dildo.
brain in her head when you said bye
yeah.
to her.
I
at the
do a
funeral.
whole thing about a guy that got electrocuted on the subway tracks, and then like a whole thing about like why'd they do an autopsy because it was obvious how he died. Why'd they
pushed?
think it was drugs? He had track marks all over him. But,
Sure.
like from the train. Like
There's
there's jokes.
There's jokes for sure.
I mean, they
Okay.
brought him in pieces, and the doctor even held up a piece and he went like, why are we doing this? Okay, there was a guy, we found a crack pipe in their ass, and this doctor didn't miss a beat, and he looked over and he just went, oh, that means 2 more weeks of winter.
Oh, that's great.
It was so good.
I'm sure.
That's great.
I'm sure. Do you feel like there are funny people working in this because you have to have a
Only-
weird sense of humor to like get through it?
Only the doctors.
Only the
They were
doctors.
hilarious.
Because they're getting paid good money, so they can laugh.
They
about
were
it.
funny. Yeah.
And okay, God. So crack pipe. Glad we got to that story. So you're doing this job, and how long did you do this one for?
I did it for 11 months.
And why'd you stop?
Because the agency was they were just super toxic. Like everyone's after each other's position. There's no promotions for like 3 years. I was a temporary employee, so then I would have to re-interview to be permanent. And they said I couldn't talk about anything on stage. They're like, if you're not allowed to talk about this, you can't write a book, you can't do anything. And comedy came back, and I was like, are you crazy? I have to talk about
I
this
wouldn't
on
have told
stage.
them I was a comic or anything.
Did
I
you
would've
sign
just
an
been
NDA or?
Yeah.
I signed some stuff when I first went to work there, and like some of it was definitely confidentiality shit. So
What about I could certainly like know personal information, but what about like I experienced X, Y, and Z, or I saw, or this was my feelings dealing with it. They can't put a gag order on that.
they've stopped doctors from writing certain things in books they were writing because they said
What?
it breached confidentiality.
And this is why it's so rife with corruption,
yeah, it's bad.
because there's just people can't. So when did you decide? Fuck it. I mean, you.
What was it? It was somebody. there was this guy running the autopsy room that was just incompetent, and he like said that I left a bunch of advanced fingerprints out. It's when they're so decomposed you can't take a fingerprint, so you fill it up with foam and you take an imprint. And he said,
you fill what up with foam?
The it's like a mummified finger, or if their skin.
So it's like a balloon that's deflated. You fill it up so you can get the print of.
Right. Or, you're going to love this. Let me gross you out. So if a body was like degloving,
I'm so glad Russell's not here. Russell would have thrown up all over the fucking floor.
I'm almost there.
From decomposition, to get the fingerprint, you have to stick your hand in the skin and push it down. We have 3 gloves on. It's whatever.
Here's my thing.
What the fuck, dude? Do you put all 5 fingers in at once, like a full glove?
You go in the full glove, baby. You get all
You
this
did
print.
this.
Oh, yeah.
Does it feel like finger and mashed potatoes?
No, it feels like a finger in a wet balloon.
Here's my thing, okay? You've never done this before, and now you're like, oh, you got to deglove a blabbity blip.
Yeah, it's wild. It's advanced.
Yeah.
It's
how much trial and error did that happen?
like
with
you put the
these
fingers through and your
innocent
fingers
people's
burst through.
bodies?
You're like, fuck.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had some, not really. I kind of cut the heart out wrong a few times, but because you got to get the heart blood for the. I mean, I definitely you got to do it. I mean, I cut the fucking not the uterus, not the kidneys, the bladder. I cut the bladder's really hard to get out, and I did that wrong a few times. But so you asked initially like the autopsy procedure. Why incision? We take garden shears, like the kind you get at Home Depot. You crack the ribs open, then you get to the heart. You take the heart out for the doctor, then you do the lungs, then you do the liver, you weigh all the organs, the kidneys, everything.
And there's no training for this.
No,
it's
they just
hey,
throw you in.
You're in, and someone's telling you what to do.
Yes.
Are they documenting all your medical information and putting it in some grand database?
No, not that I know. I mean, I don't know that end of it. That's like.
Because I guess I'm curious. Because obviously all these numbers are very useful.
Right. The
I'm
doctors.
sure.
I think definitely for COVID, I know they were doing that. And cancer rates and heart attacks and stuff. Yeah, all the death reports.
It just feels like, how they say you can decide to donate your body to science? It kind of feels like hearing this, I'm like, well, everybody seems like it's being donated to science.
What the hell else more is there to do?
I heard something about like if you're going to donate your body to science, you should really think about sometimes that means they'll use your body to test a bomb out. To see like how bombs affect a body, and they'll put you in a building.
That's
to
the
see.
thing.
And it's like, is that what you want the body?
I'd like to be on an episode of Mythbusters.
Yeah,
sure, exactly.
Blow my head off.
Something, or like in your head, you're like, well, I'd like my body to cure cancer. That would be a noble thing. But there's like, no, we're gonna test a new bomb that will help kill more people.
We're gonna see the jaw strength of this German Shepherd with an adamantium lower mouth.
Dude, I want to work.
Those robotic dogs. We're going to see how fast this robot dog can rip off a head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to get in the mind of a necrophiliac. We're going to fucking leave you in the park.
I did want to ask, obviously, if you're a necrophiliac, this feels like the only position.
There was this guy that we worked with that everybody was constantly being like, I think that motherfucker fucks bodies. And I'm like, he was just really chipper and naive. And he was.
I like a guy's like, good morning, and
Yeah.
they're like, that motherfucker
He's
is a
fucking
creep.
the bodies.
That he was not.
Hey, I got everyone coffee. You just got a blowjob from Ethel.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, that was the vibe. It was like, oh, he's just too happy. Why do you think he's fucking bodies? Yeah.
Dude,
But do you
miserable
think he was?
people.
I don't.
I mean,
But
would
those
it be?
those guys know better than me. They've been there for 8-10 years. I was just like a visitor.
It's just hard. I mean,
Is there like a hazing process?
Yeah, they didn't lock me, but they all left the autopsy room towards the end, and they left me with like a bunch of fetuses because they thought that would bother me. And
You came out wearing them around your neck like ears from Vietnam.
I was just like playing with them. They were talking. I was like,
oh my god, oh my god.
baby autopsies. They thought that would get me to leave. Whatever.
How?
Babies are cute. They have the cutest little organs.
How? Why?
What?
Why would you need to have hazing at this job?
They would lock
This is
people
so
in the
hard.
freezer with all the decomp body. We have a decomp freezer just for the decomposed bodies, and they would lock people in that because of the smell.
What bothers you?
Yeah.
Is there anything that bothers you?
Well, yeah,
that makes you feel ugh?
Yeah.
What?
I mean,
What? Because you just described your like fetuses, whatever.
Well, fetuses
I have fetuses for breakfast.
They never had a life.
A stable life?
They never had a life, dude. Fetuses never had a life, dude. They just were
a
like
healthy relationship where we communicate openly.
I got married during this.
Sure.
Now,
After this, I'd be like, we gotta settle down and hold on to happiness while we can.
What about these smells?
Oh, the smells were the worst.
How are you dealing with this?
Are you wearing like Vapor Rub?
No, I would just no. That makes it worse because mint opens up your nostrils more.
How are you not wearing a gas mask?
I know, right? I just breathed through my mouth a lot when I was doing it.
So
what bothers
this is a good job for people who post on Reddit.
That's funny.
now I'm sure there's. Did anyone take a picture like, oh, this one's fucked
No,
up?
you're not.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that's a big no-no.
Of course.
Instant
Well, it
fire.
sounds like stealing bodies is a big no-no. Stealing from bodies.
Yeah,
It just seems like
I couldn't imagine they draw the line at like, oh, I'm gonna steal this guy's ring, but a selfie for Snapchat? No.
People did get fired from that. Like in 2017, there was a big. People were taking. Some guy made his rap video like after hours in the freezers with a bunch of bodies, and he was holding up heads and stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
God damn, that is wild to think that's gonna be okay.
He got the whole. There was a lot of trouble.
Did
It
anyone
wasn't
ever
okay.
recognize someone in the morgue?
Yes, there were people. There were a girl, her like ex-boyfriend came in, and she. Then if that happens, you don't work in the autopsy room.
That's
that
an
day.
awkward. Talk about running into your ex. What have you been up to?
Yeah.
There was.
I'm doing
I guess I won this relationship.
Right.
What?
How did they react? Were they?
No, they just not. They just weren't allowed to be in the
that's
autopsy room
sad.
that day.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. They weren't allowed to.
So if somebody you know shows up in the autopsy
I'd
room,
know everybody just to take a day off.
Sure. Oh, James.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I
gotta
gotta go.
Yep.
I know this guy.
That's the rule.
That's the rule.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you get paid for that time off?
Yeah, they just put you in a different department. They'll just put you at the front checking out bodies.
Or like a cop that shoots a kid. They're like, you're on desk duty.
You know what I think about? So you remember? Is it Jake Paul? Is he the famous YouTuber guy?
No.
Remember he got in big trouble because he made a video in the Suicide Forest.
Yep,
And he
in Japan.
there was a video of him with like a dead body. And I don't think it's great to post that video, but it's more just like, we just don't deal with, like, hearing this, I'm like, God, we just don't even confront
yeah.
dead bodies at all.
I
We
think
send them away
everybody-
to this
Yeah.
thing and like,
Nobody thinks-
let's see him at the funeral, all
What
gussied up.
happens? I mean, you asked like what bothers me. There was one case that really upset me, and it was a mom who jumped off a building holding her daughter.
Oh.
And that one really upset me. And I did the autopsy on the child, and I had to just pretend she was a doll the whole time. I had to just like disconnect and pretend it was like a movie prop.
But now you had dealt with kids before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was just the story of this one
Yeah,
connected with you.
Yeah, I mean she didn't have to kill her kid too. Like it was terrible.
Yeah. Now, how did you? So when they brought it in, did they give you the story right then and there, or
Oh,
you
yeah.
read about it?
The
or-
cops came in, they told us about it. They even showed us the video of the mom
What
jumping.
the fuck? Why?
Okay, you want to hear the thing that really also made me quit? Not only was I wanted to focus more on comedy, but there was a case where this girl got stabbed to death by her boyfriend who had been stalking her. The cops came in and showed us the body cam footage of them not killing, but like arresting the boyfriend and subduing him and then carrying her out to the ambulance, and all the body cam footage of her like grasping for air and trying to talk and like her last dying moments.
Come on, man.
Sorry, Ian. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry,
Go
dude.
ahead,
I don't
Why
want
are
to.
they
that
show-
wasn't a come
why
on
are they
man to
showing
you. That
this
was
to
a
you?
come on
Well,
man
they show it to the doctor. I mean,
humanity.
we're in there with the doctor, and they want to show the doctor because sometimes, like, seeing injuries when they're fresh like that can sometimes aid the investigation or the autopsy in some way. So, I mean, I watched a video of this woman, like, being aware of what had happened to her. Her throat was slashed, so she couldn't talk. Then I was kind of like, I think I've had enough, and I'm just going to go find another job and just focus on comedy, and I'll always remember all of this forever.
I guess it's like, it makes sense why those two things rose above the rest.
Oh, yeah.
Because it seems like tell me if this is accurate, that like if they're dead, you're able to go like, well, that person's not there anymore. This is just materials.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are confronted either with the narrative of the story or seeing the person alive, suddenly that's where it
gets to me. I don't want to know anything.
Was the doctor like, hey, what's she going to be for Halloween? A Pez dispenser?
What the fuck? No, they weren't. But
I'm gonna have to put as we're going through, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to put a preface to this episode because this is tough.
Wait,
That's a lot. I just had a thing. I'm just, every time you talk about this, I'm closing my eyes and seeing everyone that I've seen die.
I'm
and
sorry.
It's like, ugh.
Dude, I'm really sorry.
No,
it's
my
okay.
God, you don't have to apologize for your existence,
No,
your story. You're a hero. I think it's heroic that you've dealt that anyone who has to confront these things, let alone not for a lot of money.
Well, what I'm saying is that's what's happening to me in this moment. So I'm feeling a massive amount of empathy towards you because I can't imagine what. And Gianmarco, one day you'll know what empathy feels like.
As I said, my parents are divorced. So I understand.
I couldn't imagine the feelings that you would have to go through witnessing all this.
I think that I'm very compartmentalized because I had a lot of abuse growing up, and I think that like there's just something about being abused very young that you are able to cut things off and disassociate. And I think I used my disassociative tools as like I weaponized it. And
Do you feel like the people, other than this cheery necrophiliac guy, like, do you feel like people who worked in this field that you had some kind of commonality of darkness or I
hate to say it, but just these people were the most unimaginative people I've ever met. Most of them, they couldn't see outside of like the here and now. You know, they didn't have any vision. They were just boring. And
How so? Like what? Give an example.
Like, you know, I would say like, oh, did you I would show them something I'd written about an autopsy we did and all the colors and the smells and how I described it. And they were just like, damn, I don't remember anything. Like, I never think about it twice. Like, you know, just this is what.
No critical thinking.
Maybe not very much going on there. I wrote a lot of passages for this book I'm writing about working in the morgue, and I would show them sometimes to people I worked with about cases we'd worked on, and they were just always like, "Wow, that's really colorful. Like I would never think of it like that." You know, they're just very, very type A people. No artists are in the morgue.
Well, I mean, I feel like you need that for that job. You need people that are just almost like robotic in a way to do the things that, you know, people like us wouldn't be able to do for a long time.
That's why it should be paid so much better.
I mean, carrying people out. Okay, when I was walking up your steps, the first thing I thought was, I do not want to carry 300-pound people out of this apartment, because that's what we would do. We go to these 5-story walk-ups in the Bronx with no elevator. Someone's 250 pounds. You get up there and you're just like, fuck. And then you had to fucking put them on a tiny stretcher and fucking carry them down the stairs.
Would you have to deal with the families?
Yes. Oh, when you were talking about kissing at the beginning of the episode. All I can ever think of is, so there's the body bag we put the bodies in, and then there's this black bag that has wooden slats on the bottom to slide them down the stairs. That black bag throughout the day, when you make like 6 house calls, that black bag gets disgusting. It's got decomp on it. It's got blood on it. Families, we'd put them in the bag, we'd wrap them up, and then families would run to the black bag and kiss it. And we would just be like, no, stop. Like, fucking stop.
But what is the protocol for COVID during this time?
Extra masks.
Oh, my God. What? Yeah, could dead bodies spread COVID?
Yes.
But how? There's no...
And you're using the same bag?
But hold on, but how?
Well, not the body. There's the body bag, and then the black bag is what you put the body bag inside just to carry it down the stairs.
But how would
you're
the
not
COVID
having
spread
multiple
without...
because of COVID?
The black bag, I mean... No.
But how would the COVID spread without respiratory particles? Isn't that...
It could, if you got like liquid on your face, or if you got something in your eye, or, you know. I mean, we would put rubber gloves over the people with ventilated tubes, you know. We'd put rubber gloves over that so it couldn't like spill up on us. Or.
I mean, God bless you for... I mean, I had the thought of like, God, I should be volunteering or like going and bringing food or like doing some sort of outreach. But then my selfishness and fear of, well, I don't want to catch this, got in the way.
Of course.
And I just, you know, would jerk off and watch Tiger King. For like you to put yourself in harm's way to achieve these things would be such a help is, I mean, it's just so admirable and wonderful.
They called us last responders.
Oh, no, those are the people that are just now finding out about 9/11.
All right, well, you got to get to your meetings too, so let's go to our, let's do a real quick.
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. Just tell us if there's one big thing. Obviously, this industry is corrupt.
Oh, yeah.
Fucked up. What's one particular thing that needs to change about, I mean, I guess it is, you were saying about the burial with the chemicals. But anything in terms of where you worked where like this would make a world of difference?
Well, I mean, I would specifically just in the medical stuff, I can't really besides paying people better and like that, and no, but in the funeral side of it, like I just think a lot of that's really corrupt. Like if you loved your father, you'd buy a bigger coffin, or just that upselling.
Yeah,
it's really sleazy.
I just want to be turned into a tree.
Yeah,
and I'd
totally.
like my brain to be. I guess it doesn't have to be in my head. It can be in my
chipper
stomach.
guy in the morning.
I want to be turned into a mushroom. Like they were doing fungi.
That's cool to
burials.
me. To me, that's a good.
I want my friends to taxidermy me and high five me and I want a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. I want to be on a bicycle.
And do you really?
Yeah,
That's
really
awesome.
If you could, you would.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to our final segment.
You
better count your blessings.
What do you want, Ian? What do you want?
What do you want?
I want it on the stoop at the cellar.
Sure.
'Cause that's where I spend all my time smoking cigarettes.
I think instead of the photos on the wall, we take down the photo and it's your head encased right there with the cigarette in your mouth.
Like Richard Nixon in Futurama.
Yeah. All right, this is the blessing. I mean, dear Christ, I don't know if there's anything to be thankful for in this world right now.
I think there is.
Okay, what's your blessing?
My blessing?
Something to be thankful for today.
Being alive. No one's
it's
digging.
more specific.
No one's digging through my guts. I
Sure.
should have died the other day. I was riding down the bridge, get zooming and booming, get to a light, stop, pedal again, and my back wheel falls off. The derailleur, the crank, the fucking chain. Someone had tried to steal my back tire. I didn't know it, and they took off a nut, and the axle slowly was moving out of the tire.
Oh my God.
And if that had happened when I was going down the bridge, I'd have wiped out.
Yeah.
I wasn't wearing a helmet. I'd have been fucking gone.
You should wear a helmet.
You know?
You should wear a helmet.
I saw a lot
Listen to her. She knows.
should wear-
She sees what happens. That's what they. When my dad told me to wear a helmet, don't tell me. Show me one picture,
Show
and
me.
I will never not wear a fucking helmet again.
Yeah.
I saw some definite people falling off bikes and scooters and stuff. It's like an egg.
Fuck.
All right.
Fuck.
Let's move on. Knock on wood.
Get
I'm-
a,
Wait,
get
I
a
never-
helmet.
I wanna,
But the upside is I should have died. I didn't.
And you
We're
didn't.
here.
Great.
We're all alive.
My blessing is it was JFL.
Yeah.
It all feels so meaningless in the scope of the world.
it's not
really.
meaningless.
This is shaking me. I'm going to think about this for... No, you don't have to be... It's good. You need to deal with the world.
Yeah.
You need to deal with the world.
Yep.
Do you
Field
have-
trips should be to autopsy rooms.
I think everybody that lives in the Manhattan or in the city should have to go work at the morgue for 1 month out of their life.
I agree. The morgue and the prison. After
And-
doing a show in the prison, these are anything in life that we don't deal with. And I think preparing meat.
And
I think all three of these things.
Everyone should have to work a serving job.
Yes. Makes people more humble.
Yes.
Yep.
Do
To
you know
get
what?
a better sense of
that would be
humanity.
like. That would be a great like. I feel like someone wanted to write a book, like someone who was spoiled or privileged. Like it's those kinds of things. 1 month for a year of like you want to get some rich person like Nicole Richie. I don't need to see her work like milking a cow.
Right.
I need to see her slaughtering a cow.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like it's like the Israeli army at 18. Instead of serving the army, you should be serving these fucking jobs to
Yeah.
give you a better sense
Serving
of
some
humanity.
fries.
And
There's a girl I went to school with who is semi-public figure, and she goes to prisons and gives speeches about her marriage and how to have a good marriage, and she's never wanted for anything in her life. And it's like
What?
people like that. Yeah, people like that need
blow
to go
her up.
work
Who
in-
is it?
Yeah.
so any blessing that you have that you'd like to share something
You're gonna
nice.
think I'm really fucked up for this, but
This part.
You're
Yeah.
blessed.
This is gonna do it.
Can I guess? You're grateful that people die.
I am grateful for my experience at the morgue. Everyone that died gave me awesome stories to talk about, and hopefully I can write a book and quit my day job.
You certainly deserve it after what you have dealt with. Now you have to run. This is coming out
Yes.
August 16th. Is there anything you want to plug?
Why, yes, there is. I have a fantastic new podcast, B and Ian with Jordan. Me and Jordan Jensen have a podcast. It's a fucking blast. And this is coming out August 16th. It is #1 on the iTunes charts. And patreon.com/B and Ian pod. YouTube.com/B and Ian pod. Check it out. Instagram for me, ianimal69. I always love coming in here and doing this, man. Thank you.
I'm always happy to have you. Anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I just started my podcast. It's called Alien Murder Sex,
Wow.
and we're recording at Gas Digital. We're not on the network, but we're recording there, and
Cool.
we're on Alien Murder Sex on all platforms right now. Instagram,
Nice.
TikTok, Twitter, all of it.
Look at that.
For me, thank you for listening to the podcast. Tell your friends about this. If this episode was pretty extreme, this is the darkest episode we'll ever have in the history of the show. Maybe we'll have you back once the book's out, and I'm sure you have more stories.
I hope it's a pop-up picture book.
I do too. That would be wonderful if they would allow that.
Yeah.
Do you get PTSD?
You should do what's that game where you take out the pieces of the body?
Operation.
I was just gonna say, do you get PTSD from playing Operation?
Man,
like playing with your nephew, you just start sobbing.
I have I don't know anyone with kids. I have PTSD from I look at people now like on the subway in the street and I think, oh man, your bowels are disgusting. Like I look at people and I imagine their insides.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, I'll be headlining Comedy Bar.
Oh yeah, August 18th and 19th. Let's get to the important stuff. American Comedy Company.
August 19th and 20th, I'll be headlining Chicago Bar. Then the weekend after that, I'll be headlining in Tampa at Side Splitters.
Woo!
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I think
that's
people died.
24th, 25th, 26th.
With their side.
We will have it in the show notes. And then the sister show to this, The Silver Lining, will be on September 4th at Sesh Comedy Club. Links will be in the bio. Those tickets are only $5. And come check it out. And I guess just remember, whether you want to be buried in a casket or you want to be turned into a tree or a mushroom, the one thing you will never be turned into is back alive. This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.
It's wild.
But Ian, this is especially for you. This one guy died masturbating with a dildo up his ass, one down his throat, and he had shirts wrapped in amyl nitrate wrapped around his head. Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
He came into the morgue. He'd been left there for like 2 weeks, complete decomp, crawling with maggots. But the doctor made me take the dildo out of his mouth, and he made me like keep putting it back in because he wanted to see exactly like where the airwave got cut off. So I had to like face fuck a corpse with a dildo.
Oh my god.
That was an interesting day.
So wait,
do you want that not on the pod?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Maybe we'll add it.
Did
We're
he
still recording?
Oh wow! Did he? He died because he passed out and it was stuck in his throat.
he died of like autoerotic asphyxiation.
Right.
Right. And there was a big one in his butt. I had to pull it out, and all these maggots fell out.
Oh my god!